following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And here it is, a Thursday of Mick Shots. We are 1 week away from Thanksgiving, believe it or not. And we're just a few days away from the Cowboys returning to the field in Minnesota to play a game. It's a long time in between these games when you've got a bye week mixed in. But we are here to talk about it. Bill Jones here at home, Everson Walls there at home, and Mickey Spagnola in his home away from home, the SWBC Mortgage Studios at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Hello, Mickey. How are you?
Kind of lonely in here. Got used to having
Mick,
you
well,
here yesterday.
Show him your bunk. Show him your bunk bed, Mick.
Yeah, right?
How are you doing, Everson?
I'm doing fine. I am wearing my favorite cowboy shirt, courtesy of Mick Shots. Thank you very much, Spags. This sucker here looks good, and it is comfortable.
It feels good, too, huh?
So good. Thank you, Spags.
I like that
soft.
blue. That's a good-looking blue there.
Dude, this is a great shirt. Great
All
shirt.
right.
Makes me look professional.
Yes. You always look professional, Everson.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Mickey.
Yes.
This is the heaviest work day of the week, isn't it, for the Cowboys?
That's what Mike McCarthy likes to refer to Thursdays as, their heavy work day, because they've got the pads on. And I'm not sure what was going on today out here, but they started practice indoors. The quarterback school was outdoors. And then all of a sudden, I saw people rushing to get all the equipment back outside. And I go, what are they doing? And they came outside and continued practice outdoors for, I don't know, maybe a half hour, 20 minutes or so. And then they went back inside. So I don't know if the wind had something to do with it. It was pretty windy out here, and it sure could mess up a passing game practice with the wind. That it was pretty strong. So, but anyway, yeah, they got it in.
Okay. So is there a reason, unless it's the wind, is there a reason they were indoors yesterday also?
You know, he's been doing that on Wednesdays. They've been going indoors on Wednesdays and then outdoors on Thursdays. And since we don't know we don't get to watch Saturday, I don't know if they're in or out. But yeah, that's kind of
the reason I ask is about a month ago I asked him what he prefers, and he said, and he of course being Mike McCarthy, he said that he always prefers being outside.
Yeah, and he said that from the start,
and
Bill.
being on the grass.
Right, absolutely.
Right, and so that's why I was surprised even yesterday that they were inside. And unless there's something going on with the field or something, there's a reason not being outside. But
he probably doesn't want me watching.
I know the answer. I know the answer.
Okay.
You know, sometimes when my dog is inside for like a number of days and it's been raining, you know, sometimes you just got to go outside and get that sunshine, get that vitamin D. So he goes and just lays in the dirt, you know, just lets that sun just kind of soak in. And then he goes back in the house. That's pretty much what it was. They just needed some vitamin D. That's all.
Yeah, but Mike McCarthy says he always wants his vitamin D. He always wants to be outside, and so that's a strange thing about being inside. But anyway, maybe we'll find out the answer to that one of these days.
And Bill,
what do we know about practice today, Mickey?
Regardless if they were inside or outside, Randy Gregory still didn't take part in practice. He's got an illness that Mike basically pointed out that it's not any COVID-19 symptoms. So that's 2 days in a row he missed practice. And there was no DeMarcus Lawrence out there for the portion of practice that's open. So we'll see where that one goes. He wasn't on the injury report after yesterday's practice, so maybe it was something. Maybe he had this hanging around with Randy Gregory too much and maybe caught something. But we'll find out. The good news is even though Zach Martin was limited yesterday with a calf strain. He was back out there doing stuff and practicing fully yesterday, and from what I could tell so far today, Ezekiel Elliott, Andy Dalton, Joe Thomas, Tyler Biedesh was working on the resistance cord, so that's a step in the right direction for the strained hamstring he has. And Brandon Knight was back out, so he got another day of practice. Now he's on injured reserve return, meaning they've started his 21-day window. And I think I've said this before, but I got a feeling it'd be a welcome sight to have Brandon Knight back healthy, ready to play again.
And what was Brandon's issue?
He had the meniscus scope that we talked about yesterday.
You know, I see a pattern here with the big guys, and I don't know if COVID has anything to do with it, but it seems as if these are all soft muscle problems. You know, you're talking hamstrings all the time, we're talking growing. It just seems like with the big guys, it always seems to be the muscle problems that they have issues with, and I don't know if that's because of a lack of an off season or what's going on, but the teams that are the healthiest, I put it like this, the teams that are playing the best are the ones whose offensive linemen are still intact as a whole. Of course, the Cowboys lost pretty much everyone, even like you said, Spags, backups to backups.
Yeah.
And now here we are dealing with a emancipated offensive line. I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. But what we're looking at is
emaciated.
Emaciated.
We've already emancipated, I think.
Right. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yes.
Everson just made an emancipation
proclamation
about the Vikings offensive line.
My watch is slow. Sorry, guys, it's slow. But
so instead, that was an emaciation proclamation.
Yeah. That's what we need here with the linemen is an emaciation proclamation because we are losing too many of them, and Zeke and our quarterbacks are having to deal with the consequences.
I lost my train of thought because I was going to put this to a vote. Now I know what I was going to ask. So if Brandon Knight's ready to play, would you replace Terrence Steele at right tackle with him, or would you put him back at left tackle where he was playing and move Cam Irving over to right tackle?
I'm looking at the one that has the most experience as an offensive lineman, and that would be Cam Irving, right?
To stay at left tackle.
Mm-hmm. To stay at left tackle because that is the most crucial on the offensive line.
All right.
And keep in mind, it was last year, Cam Irving, for the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They lost Eric Fisher in the first game of the season, and he started 8 games at left tackle for the Chiefs last year. And their season turned out pretty well. What do you think? Mickey, you've gone back and looked at some of the offensive line from the Steelers game. You know, there was a point I was trying to focus even during the game on Irving at left tackle, and I thought he was coming around a little bit at left tackle. What do you think?
It was better. Yeah, it was better. He still gets beat to the outside, and at times gets overpowered, but not as bad as some of the stuff we've seen. And I think that Brandon Knight on the right side maybe takes a little bit of pressure off of him, not facing usually the best pass rusher. So I think we've got a vote count of 3-0 there for keeping Cam left and putting Brandon right, if indeed all the votes are in and there's nothing on a flash drive that's going to come in late.
You know, I gotta say, I talked about I talked about Connor Williams on Twitter once. I just thought he was having a horrible game. I can't remember which game it was. But as I looked at that game again, Connor Williams is a more than decent run blocker. More than decent run blocker. I thought he did a very good job in regards to opening up the holes for Zeke is on that left side of the ball. When he was getting his 4 yards a pop, and when Pollard was getting his yards, that's going right. That's right, going right through Connor Williams' gap. He did a good job. But when it comes to pass protection, he seems to be completely overwhelmed, especially when you're looking at one of those big, active, physical defensive tackles. Has Coach McCarthy said anything about the progress of Connor? Because he doesn't seem to be himself. He seems to be a little weak. He looks overwhelmed at times. Has anyone talked about that in regards to his play this year?
I don't remember any specific remarks. And you got to remember, he missed the majority of last year after tearing his ACL. And you're right on the pass pro. Sometimes he gets his feet set and he doesn't keep them moving. And then he gets overwhelmed. No. You're right, with the big guy with a bull rush move on him, and he gets pushed back into the quarterback. He's got to keep his feet moving, and he gets stationary.
He's not real effective too, Mickey, when there's a big guy like Cameron Hayward who puts his hand right up on his face and drives like that.
That would get a lot of people right.
Either.
Yeah. And how that goes uncalled, I still don't know. I watched all these other games, and I didn't see a lot of egregious misses, and I didn't see a lot of egregious penalties thrown. But it seems like it happens in the Cowboys game all the time. I don't get it. I mean, that one was so obvious.
I thought it was just me, Spags. I swear I thought it was just me, bro, because I watch a lot of football.
Bill was so obvious, you didn't even have to see it again on the All-22, or you didn't have to see a replay. You could see it in real time. He about jerked his neck off where he put his hand. And that was a significant play in the game. But no call. Swallowed the.
I told you. I think we get the pandemic crew every time. Those that. I swear, it's like every time we have a game, I see competence in almost every game that I watch, except for the Cowboys. And like you said, Spags, we can fuss about missed calls on both sides, but there seems to be a timeliness in regards to how the referees pick and choose when it comes to our games. And I just think I think it's because I'm a homer. Maybe I don't know what it is, but I know I'm talking to probably two other homers, at least one other homer with Bill over here. But I think is it just the way my eyes are seeing through Cowboy fans' eyes, or am I seeing? Is it really happening? It's something that I try not to get too overwhelmed with. Each particular time I see these aggression, these problems going along, and it just I try to step back and not say anything, and the more I try not to say anything, it gets bottled up inside me, and then I start to get ulcers.
No, don't get ulcers. Let it out.
That's what this show is for. I just let it out. That's what this show is for.
Now the Vikings have two injuries on their offensive line. Two starters. Garrett Bradbury, the center, has a shoulder. He was limited. And then one of their starting guards, Ezra Cleveland, with an ankle. He did not practice yesterday. So we'll keep an eye on what happens when that gets updated today.
And that is big for the Vikings because, to your point, Everson, when you look at this Vikings team and what they've been able to do running the football, one of the keys has been, for the most part this season, they've had their offensive line intact. Ezra Cleveland, who you just mentioned, who's number 72 for them, he's a second-round draft pick rookie out of Boise State. He has emerged as the starter here recently. And so that guard position has been one where they've filled in. They lost Pat Elflein early in the season, who started 15 games last year, and they wound up releasing him last week. He got picked up by the Jets. And about 10 teams put in a claim on him. But for the most part, they've kept that offensive line together throughout the year. And you know what coaches talk about a lot of times, and this gets us back to the Cowboys offensive line, is once you settle on five guys up there, a lot of times it takes time in terms of the run game in order to get the timing down and so forth. And that's what Mike McCarthy was saying about the Vikings run game is once they settled in 3 or 4 games ago with their offensive line and got that and went back to what they want to do, they've really been able to produce in the run game.
And there's a difference between one guy getting injured and as opposed to the Cowboys, almost the entire offensive line is having problems one way or the other. There's always room for one player that's inserted, one new player that's inserted to kind of catch on with the timing. You just kind of hopefully seamlessly move your way in. But when you're losing not just 3 offensive linemen, but 3 all-pro offensive linemen, it's going to take a minute to get the timing back. And not to mention the backups to the backups are also going down intermediately. So, as a unit, you just can't get solid.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Mick Shots. Let's dive further into this Minnesota team that's won 3 in a row over division rivals here the last 3 weeks and see what the Cowboys need to do. We've seen some signs here the last couple of weeks that the Cowboys might be turning the corner. Can they do it on Sunday against these Vikings when we come back?
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Grab some OtterBox gear and get ready for hanging with the boys. From rugged venture coolers to tough as nails elevation tumblers, we've got what you need to keep your game day drinks frosty and your football feast ice cold. And with cases, screen protectors, and power accessories, you can defend your phone and stay connected to every play. Gear up at OtterBox.com and amp up the fun of every Cowboys game. That's OtterBox.com.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Back to Mick Shots.
Hey Everson, did you know you can now support your beloved Cowboys from anywhere? Open up AT&T's Fan Zone feature inside the Cowboys app and record your personal cheer and referee signals. You'll receive a personalized mosaic and may show up on the AT&T Live FX video board during the game.
I did not know that, Bill. I'm all ears.
Yeah, just like the NBA games where you're watching from the bubble and you see all sorts of celebrities.
That's right. That's right. You got
By the way, on the subject of the NBA, did y'all watch the NBA draft at all last night?
I watched some, yes.
I watched it from about the 15th pick till the Mavericks took their pick in the second round. Okay, and the Mavericks had the 18th pick.
Yes.
Took Josh Green from Arizona, traded away Seth Curry for Josh Richardson, picked up an extra second-round pick, okay? But here's my takeaway from it. Wow. Did we ever miss March Madness?
Yeah, I didn't know any of those guys.
I knew nobody. I'm watching that thing because I was working last night. I watched that draft from pick one all the way through the first round. And I guarantee you, all the way until the local guys, Tyrese Maxey from South Garland in Kentucky. He went to Philadelphia at 21. And then R.J. Hampton from Little Elm went a couple of picks later. And then Desmond Bain from TCU went the last pick of the first round. I'm telling you, this is embarrassing because I'm a local sportscaster. I'm supposed to keep up with this stuff. I knew none of them. I had never heard of any of these guys, and unlike some years in the past where the NBA has so many Euro players that they draft, there were only a couple of Euros that were in that list. They were mostly from colleges, but they were all 19 years old. They were all one and dones.
Freshmen.
And so the only way you would have to be someone who just studies the AAU circuit and college basketball recruiting, like crazy, because you didn't have March Madness this year. And so that I didn't realize how much I missed March Madness just to learn who the players are until last night. And I went, I know none of these guys. I've never even heard of them.
I think they had a stat. Didn't they have a stat that this was the first time no lottery picks came from Duke or North Carolina? Is that a stat that they had up there?
That makes sense.
That says a lot, guys. Because those are the only ones, those two teams, you would probably know some guys from those teams. But these other teams you're talking about, and even with LaMelo coming from overseas, if I'm not mistaken, man, you talk about a weird draft. It was really kind of refreshing, actually.
That makes me feel a lot better because I remember at some point we were watching it and I just remarked, I said, gosh, this is why I don't know any of these guys. They all play 1 year and they're gone. And I forgot about no March Madness, right? Because I was hearing names and I'm going, where are these guys coming from? And had no clue. And I was blaming it on the fact that they're one and dones, right? So 19 years old. Here's some perspective. That means that guy was born in 2001.
Wow.
2001, and he's going to be in the NBA.
Here's the other thing.
Here's the other thing.
I'm starting to feel old.
Not as old as Charles Haley looked this morning on his food distribution. He was white. All his beard was white. But I lost my train of thought going to Charles Haley.
Speaking of old, Everson,
right?
He just lost his train of thought.
19 years old, and they're. Oh, I know what it was.
Oh my God!
My wife wanted to know how do these guys have the right hat? They don't know who's drafting them, and I'm going, well, they must ship them every team's hat, and you have it right next to you, because I think the NFL did that too when they did the virtual draft. They just sent everybody.
Yes, it's not like hats. College guys going to the.
Yeah.
It's not like high school guys going to college, It's not like you've got 3 or 4 different decisions to make. Right. No, that decision is already made for you. Yeah, so that's a big difference.
That's right. So anyway, all right. The NFL draft, head and shoulders above the NBA draft because I know those guys. I've never heard of these guys.
Hey, but guess what, Bill?
Here's the other thing.
Bill, think about this, though. There may not be a Senior Bowl. There may not be an East-West Shrine game. And there may not be as many bowl games as you're used to watching. So it may be the same thing for this draft because and they're probably not having a combine either, by the way.
And even if you look at these young guys coming out, I think they said March Madness may be in a bubble next year.
That's right. Yep. They're going to do in Indianapolis or around the state of Indiana. That's
or
right.
you may do all
but
16
they'll be televised
teams.
Then.
Yeah, at least
you'll know the guys in the next draft, Spags.
Okay.
You'll be okay.
Good.
Yeah. There you go. All right, Mickey.
Yes.
Points allowed by this Cowboys team. It has not been good throughout the season.
290. They lead the league with giving up 290 points.
In 9 games.
And the next closest was Jacksonville when I did this math, and I think I did it after Sunday's games, at 271. The Cowboys were giving up 32.2 points a game, but in the last 3, they shaved it down to 24. So
That's
I
right.
don't know if that will be a trend or if it's just one of those things. The other thing that happened is in these last 2 games, the Cowboys have actually had the lead for 49 minutes and 18 seconds combined. In the other 7 games, they had the lead for 17 minutes and 25 seconds. That's it. So you ask, well, how come they haven't won more games? Well, you're giving up too many points, and you're always playing from behind. And one of the reasons they're playing from behind, and not to inundate you with too many stats here, is you're turning the ball over. And Jerry talked about that on Tuesday, talking about why we've only won 2 games, and he gave his reasons. He pointed out the obvious thing about your quarterbacks, the offensive line, the tackles, and then he said the turnovers. And I said, okay, we know they've got turnovers. The Cowboys have had 20 giveaways. Those 20 giveaways have turned into 13 touchdowns and 4 field goals. So they've given up 17 scores on giveaways, totaling 103 points. Conversely, the Cowboys have their robust number of 7 takeaways. That's turned into 1 touchdown and 2 field goals, 13 points. So that's a differential in points scored after takeaways of a minus 90. 90! And you're wondering why they only won 2 games.
I don't think I've ever heard of a minus 90 when it comes to individual turnovers. That's a huge number.
Points.
You hear it in yards, but in this is just
points.
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. So anyway,
here's the thing.
So don't it's no mystery why they're in the situation they're in. When you look at those numbers combined with, now what did we say in the break? This is the 5th of 6 weeks they're going to have a different quarterback starting.
Right.
Going back to the Giants game.
Yeah. You went from Dak to Dalton to Danucci to Gilbert, now Dalton again. How do you get any continuity? And no wonder the offense has been suffering with 3 touchdowns in the last 48 possessions. And one of those was, one of those touchdowns was they finished the drive from the 27 when Dak left the field. So they had a short field there. So after that, it's been 2 touchdowns. One against Arizona at the end, and then one against Philadelphia. And that's been it.
Even when you look at the flow of the game, Jerry brought up turnovers. I would say rushing yards given up. That's what directly relates to it in my mind. Because usually when you think of a Cowboys game, the way things have been going, we commit the turnover and then they score through running and passing means, and then the Cowboys fall behind, and then the opposing team, they try to run out the clock with the running game. In this case, that's not true, I don't believe. The Cowboys' downfall has been the running game from the beginning. It has not been because they're up by a particular score, the opposition. It has not been because the opposition has just gotten a turnover. They go directly to the run, and that's why we've amassed so many yards as far as giving it up in the running game. So they don't even come out trying to pass. Okay, we got the lead. Now let's secure the win with the run. They secured it. They secured their initial touchdown in rushing yards. So I don't know what our pass defense is, but as far as rushing is concerned, to me, that's what directly relates to our problem as far as our record is concerned. Not being able to give up, not being able to stop the run, and allowing them to do it continuously. Now the difference, the last 2 games, of course, Spags, we made a difference in the ball game by stopping the run. And therefore, we have kind of showed a little bit of promise. So to me, that's been the catalyst to our lack of success, is our lack of stopping the run. Now you see what happened in the last 2 games. All of a sudden, we've got a little bit of hope. like Bill said yesterday, we might be winning the East going away if we can continue with this trend. So I'm just hoping that starts with stopping the running game, and one that was the most abysmal all season was Cleveland. Here we are with the same formation, the same system that Cleveland demolished us with in the running game. This is going to be a huge, unique test for us because I don't think anyone else is going to come out with this formation as their philosophy. Not just a change up in the game plan, but this is their philosophy. I'd love to see what kind of adjustments we're going to make that we learned from the Browns game against this Vikings team.
So let me help you out with the numbers then. The Cowboys are giving up 157 yards a game rushing. That ranks 31st in the league. Only Houston is giving up more. All right. And in the last 2 games, they've given up a total of 165 yards, but teams have needed 43 rushing attempts to get those yards. So
right.
It was 119.
Improvement, baby.
119 against Philadelphia and then 46 against Pittsburgh. So is it a step in the right direction?
It was against our nickel defense, though.
Right.
We couldn't use that. We couldn't use that nickel defense against the Browns. So now, as we talked yesterday, Bill brought up Sean Lee coming back, how he's going to be extremely important in this game. Let's see how we do with 3 linebackers. And I believe you talked yesterday about it being a 4-3. Let's see how well we do. This is going to be an exception, guys, because we may not see this formation throughout the rest of the season. But we know how much it's hurt us in the past. Let's see if we can make this improvement in the game plan.
And Minnesota's sitting there with a fullback who's coming off a game in which he had 35 snaps. He's a former Pro Bowler, C.J. Ham. And they'll go with 2 tight ends plus the fullback in some formations. You know, you look at their wide receivers with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. They've really got no one else.
There, boy. 2 good ones.
No one. You know, they basically play the game with 2 wide receivers, basically. You don't, and that is really rare in this NFL when you don't see anyone on their roster who has a third receiver has very many snaps.
I think Cook,
to speak of.
Cook has the next amount of receptions for him after those 2 guys, Bill. And then you go down to Kyle Rudolph, who we think is a really good tight end.
Kyle Rudolph, that's my man.
He's got 18 catches.
Yeah, but even if you just look at wide receiver snaps, the third guy here lately has been either Chad Beebe or B.C. Johnson. And, it's been Chad Beebe here the last couple of games, and he's gotten, 15 to 20 snaps a game. But, compare that with what the Cowboys are doing with their receivers. And, CeeDee Lamb usually has the fewest behind Gallup and Cooper, but he's around 45 to 50 snaps a game.
So here's an indication of how good they were throwing the ball over those first. They didn't put up a record to show it, but with Dak in there, so through the Giants game, how good they must have been, because they still are the 4th-ranked passing offense in the league. 4th. With all this quarterback change.
That's crazy.
So,
That's crazy.
One guy's making 2 of them making their first NFL starts, right? Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope, May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cowboy fans, join the NFL in supporting our nation's service members by wearing the latest Dallas Cowboys Salute to Service gear. Visit your local Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop or shop.dallascowboys.com to find the full assortment of Salute to Service gear and honor America's heroes.
You know, I was up last night, and for some reason your readings came across my mind, Spag. I don't know what it was. And I started thinking, I was trying to think of a good comparison between you and Bill and how you guys read. Bill is more of a Morgan Freeman, I guess, which is obviously great compliment. But I tried to come up with a name, and all I could come up with was Edith Bunker. That's it. That's all I could come up with, just a comparison. So, in the future, that's what's in my mind every time you read a
Mickey reads.
No offense taken, because Bill's a professional broadcaster.
Yes, he is.
You know what? Maybe we'll start using that. We'll when Mickey gets going, we'll tell Mickey to stifle himself.
Right. Edith.
Which is what Archie used to say to Edith Bunker. Man, can you imagine? That show could never air today.
Oh, God.
No way, brother.
Politically incorrect he was. There is no way. That would be off the air within 20 seconds of being on the air.
Oh, my God. It would be your president's favorite show for however long it was.
Hey, Everson, you're in the Black College Football Hall of Fame, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I am.
All right. Did you see there's a new the 2021 class for the Black College Football Hall of Fame was announced?
I did. I voted for them. Yes.
Oh, you're on the vote. Did you vote the year that you got in? Were you one of the voters too?
No, they wouldn't let me vote then.
So did you get your votes right?
This is not running for president. No, it's not a presidential race. No.
All right. So the inductees this year will be Coy Bacon, Greg Coleman, Coy Bacon from Jackson State, Greg Coleman, Florida A&M, Jimmy Giles from Alcorn State, Winston Hill from Texas Southern. I'm surprised he wasn't already yet.
Yeah,
Roynell Young from Alcorn State, and Coach Willard Bailey from Virginia Union, Norfolk State, St. Paul's College, Virginia Lynchburg College.
And every one of those names, we look at them as Black College Hall of Famers, but every NFL team has been privy to their greatness. You talk about Coy Bacon, you talk about Coleman. Coleman has a nice little legacy. His brother, if I'm not mistaken, played for the New York Mets and was in that World Championship. He was one of the best base stealers, if I'm not mistaken.
Vince Coleman?
Vince Coleman is his brother, yes.
Wow. Cardinals, too.
The Cardinals, right?
So many stories behind the stories, yes. I remember a funny story about that Greg Coleman told me about, I think it was Alan Page. Was he the one that studied to be a judge?
Yes.
Right? He went to law school, became a judge. Well, it's I guess it's not a secret anymore. Bud Grant was kind of he was worse than Tom Landry. Matter of fact, Tom was an angel compared to Bud Grant. So Alan Page he was at the end of his career. He wanted to go to law school. So he comes to Bud Grant and says, hey, I'd love to go to law school this offseason. Bud Grant took offense to the fact that this man wanted to better himself, and he cut Alan Page.
No way.
So, yes, Alan Page got cut. The next team he went to was the Chicago Bears. So when the Chicago Bears played the Minnesota Vikings, Alan Page promptly knocks out, I think, 3 of their quarterbacks on the Minnesota Vikings team. So, they're over there with smelling salt, taking care of those guys. Back in the day, there's no tent, right? You just, like, how many fingers am I holding up? And they would just over there test them out. Well, Greg Coleman is the 4th quarterback for the Vikings. And Bud Grant looks down the bench, and Greg Coleman is the only quarterback that he has left. So he looked at Greg Coleman, and they went and woke up the other quarterback that was doing some smelling salt, because there's no way you're going to put your punter in as your 4th quarterback. So Alan Page, he came back and just wreaked havoc over the Minnesota Vikings because Bud Grant would not allow him to go to law school.
So did Greg Coleman look back at him and shook his head, I ain't going in?
Basically, he could see the look in his eyes. That's what Greg said. The look in Greg's eyes was like, we're not going with this guy. So, we'll wake up the other quarterback.
So what you're
saying,
saying,
wake up the first quarterback that was knocked out of the game.
What you're saying, that's a little different level of denying a guy to better himself than Tom telling Walt Garrison, no, you can't be bull riding the night before the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of on Tom's side with the bull riding. Yeah, I'm with Tom on that because Walt was one of those North Dallas 40 Dallas Cowboys. He was all about raising hell. So Tom had to take a look out for him. Studying to go to law school?
Yeah,
law school. Come on, how could you deny that?
Did you ever?
But that's old Bud Grant.
Did you ever hear Walt tell the story of how he got outed, that he was doing that? Because they didn't know he was doing that. He'd leave the hotel. He'd go get his horse. He'd have somebody drive the horse to the wherever the rodeo was, and he'd go and ride and then come back by curfew, right? And he said, he goes, and I was doing it for quite a while. And he goes, and then Tom's at some charity function, and someone goes up to him and says, Tom, you're really nice to let Walt participate in these rodeos on Saturday nights before the game. And Tom had no idea. And he comes back, and it's like, Walt, that'll be the end of that, okay?
Could you imagine Tom getting really excited? I don't think I ever saw it. He may have raised an eyebrow. I think that's the most demonstrative I've ever seen it.
Somebody asked me how it was to deal with Tom, and I was new here. I knew the name, I knew the legend, and I could always remember. I finally, in one of those press conferences on Tuesday, got up a nerve to ask him a question, right? And I had it planned out. I knew this was going to be my story. And I asked the question, whatever it was, and he looked at me and he goes, no, not really. And that was it. That was the answer I got.
That's it.
And I found out when
he was Bill Belichick,
right?
Before Bill Belichick.
When he didn't want to answer your question, that's what you got. No, not really. It was like one time I was at Alabama and Bear Bryant was there and asked a question in his press conference, and he didn't like it. He didn't like it one bit. And all of a sudden, his southern drawl got thicker and slower and did not understand one word he said when he answered my question. And he did it on purpose, too, by the way.
Hey, that's kind of scary for a black man to hear that kind of accent, right? That means you're in trouble.
Okay, it's interesting, Everson, that you dwelled on Alan Page there, and I love that you did. And it's interesting because the Cowboys are playing the Minnesota Vikings this year. It got me to thinking about the Purple People Eaters.
Purple People Eaters, oh my God.
All right, Alan, I was just looking up Alan Page, and I knew he was a great player. Do you realize how great a player Alan Page was? I mean, we're talking 9-time Pro Bowler from 1968 to 76. He was the National Football League most valuable player in 1971. 6-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 71 and 73. I mean, the list goes on and on. Of course, he's on the 100th anniversary all-time team of the NFL, 70s all-decade team, and all of that. And I got to thinking, who's the greatest player in Minnesota Viking history?
I mean, everybody's going QB. You can say Fran. That's all I could come up with. I mean, otherwise, I would definitely go with one of the Purple People Eaters.
You know, I heard a discussion on that the other day, and there was a few Hall of Famers from Minnesota, or maybe it was guys that they retired their numbers. And I'm trying to think of, I
maybe
think
that'll be a little homework assignment for tomorrow.
Well, the purple, if you know what, and I just called up the Purple People Eater. So Alan Page, Carl Eller, Jim Marshall. Remember Wrong Way, Jim Marshall?
Wrong way. Isn't that sad? He's such a great player. And the first thing we remember is him running the wrong way.
He picked up a fumble and went the wrong way. And then the other guy was Gary Larson. Yeah. I was remembering.
Was it with 2 S's?
Which one? Gary Larson?
Was Larson with 2 S's?
No, this one says just one. Larsen.
Okay.
It was an SEN, not an ON.
They had a lot of Nordic players on their team. Yeah. I thought that he spelled it with 2 S's. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you a list.
What came to mind for me was Chuck Foreman. I mean, he was pretty darn good.
Of course, yeah. I'd still go with Alan Page.
Yeah, I think Alan Page might be the guy, unless I come up with. I'll see about who I can. That's
why the Hail Mary was so amazing, because we finally beat these guys. They used to kill us. They used to kill us all the time. We finally got them in '76.
You know who I think was the greatest player in Minnesota Viking history? That would be Herschel Walker, because he made the Cowboys the Super Bowl team of the night.
Hey,
on that note,
one note before we leave, here's how far Antoine Woods has come in the last month. He's doing his own conference call right now with the local media.
Way to go, Antoine.
All right, there you go.
He's
a good soundbite too.
Yes, he is.
He's a good quote. Antoine Woods is, yeah. All right, so we'll look forward to that on your local news tonight on CBS 11 in Dallas.
Go Cowboys!
Yes, and we will see you tomorrow, and we'll have our picks to click as the Cowboys get back on track on their way to never mind. We'll see you tomorrow here on Mick Shots.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!